Hello everyone, and welcome back to AJ Anime, where you can find all things anime. But now, we're gonna talk about manga. Shonen Jump has once again released another banger that has taken the internet by storm. It was released back in September 2023, and with less than a handful of chapters, it did not disappoint. There's no doubt that this is going to be the next big thing in manga. So from overpowered magic swordsmen to badass gangsters, this is why Kagura Bachi will be the greatest manga of all time. Warning that this will include spoilers. But before we dive in though, as to what really makes Kagura Bachi so good, some of you might have not even heard about it in the first place. The manga focuses on Chihiro, who spends his days forging swords with his father, a legendary swordsmith who created the 6 mystic katanas. Those katanas were imbued with sorcery, and they were strong enough that it saved countless lives after taking countless more during a war. They were thinking that their lives would be peaceful until tragedy struck when 3 unknown sorcerers attacked their house. Shiba, his father's friend, arrived late with the barrier destroyed and Chihiro holding his father's bloody corpse. The sorcerers took the 6 mystic katanas for themselves, but what they didn't know was that there was a 7th. Using the last katana, Chihiro trained relentlessly so that he could take back his father's prized possessions and get revenge on the people who ruined their lives. With the help of Shiba, they go around Japan hunting down anyone who's involved in the incident, torture them for information, and unravel the sorcerer's mysterious identities step by step. In recent chapters, Chihiro is already up against Genichi Sojo, who is one of the biggest weapons dealers in the underworld of Japan. This happened when they found Char Koyonagi, a kid who seemingly has some connection with one of the mystic katanas known as the Cloud Gouger, or Kuregumo. They were captured after Sojo put a bounty on their heads as numerous sorcerers all over Tokyo wanted the prize money. But they successfully escaped once they were helped by Azami, a Kamunabi, a sorcerer who was hired by the country. They get some more leads about another mystic sword, and now it looks like Chihiro has to prepare for one of the biggest challenges he has to face yet. But he didn't think that it would happen that fast, because now he's fighting against Sojo, who has the Kuregumo. This was the first time in a few years where users of the Mystic Sword went head-to-head against each other, and it seemed like Sojo had the upper hand because it can control 3 elements. One was thunder, the other was ice, and the last one was cloud. However, Sojo says that he doesn't know anything about Chihiro's sword. We get to learn from Azami and Shiba's conversation just how important the mystical swords were during the Seitei War, and even if the users didn't have any experience in fighting, they were still able to become the deadliest force in that era. They were called the Rokuhira, and they were regarded as heroes. It also turns out that Sojo is just one massive fanboy of Chihiro's dad, and he thinks that the mystic swords were not meant to save the weak, but were the perfect tools for a massacre. He even tried doing it by using the thunder ability on civilians, only for Chihiro to absorb the entire attack by using his sword as a lightning rod. Battered and bruised, Chihiro wasn't going to let his father's masterpieces be used for the wrong reasons and used his own ability called Nishiki. We learn that Nishiki is called a Matoi, and while Chihiro is struggling to use it, Sojo straight up violates him, telling him that he doesn't need to push himself. Meanwhile, Char and Hinao are running away while Sojo tells someone that good intentions were words that weren't fit for someone like Chihiro's father. This turned out to be one bad move because now, Chihiro becomes angry and blitzes Sojo using Enten. While they were fighting, that's when Chihiro saw a leg in a car that looked like it was Char's. Suddenly, the Kamunabi arrive and surround Chihiro and Sojo, and I must say they look badass. Azami and Shiba also arrive, but Azami orders everyone to stand by and avoid conflict as much as possible. Sojo realizes how powerful they are and uses the ability, Ku, to create a smokescreen and escape just before Shiba can engage him. This gives Chihiro the opening to go to the car. He reaches it and decapitates the thugs inside, only to realize that what he had was only one of Char's legs. As he interrogates the driver, he reveals that they cut her up so that they could distract Chihiro, and Hinao lies down in a pool of blood in an alleyway. That's when we see that in another truck, Char's with a bunch of other trucks, and her legs are starting to grow back. Sojo arrives and one thug mentions that they already have the ingredient, and he might be referring to Char herself. Their plan is to surpass Rokuhira Kunoshige, and now Sojo is much more interested in Chihiro as he realizes that he is Rokuhira Kunoshige's son. Meanwhile, Chihiro's bloodlust is overflowing, and he might become a monster solely formed to kill Sojo. So before we take a better look into this review, smash that like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you won't miss more videos like this one. Now that you're up to date with what's happening in the manga, we've got to talk about the star of this show, Chihiro Rokuhira. As mentioned before, he was the son of the legendary swordsmith named Kunishige Rokuhira. What makes Chihiro so special compared to other shonen main characters is that Chihiro actually feels like he's human, in the sense that he has emotions that resonate with most of us. You see, in most shonen shows, the MC is that happy-go-lucky kid who always chooses the power of friendship and has a no-kill moral compass. But Chihiro is the exact opposite of that. The way they wrote him is not one-sided, and he actually has a complex personality. Chihiro is able to have friends and allies like Shiba, Azami, and Hanao, and he's also able to feel sympathy for other victims like Char. He can even be pretty funny sometimes. However, when it comes to his enemies, Chihiro is mostly merciless and will not hesitate to kill anyone who threatens his allies, his life, and his goal. This makes him more interesting than MCs like Asta or Deku. Another thing about Chihiro is that his character design is so badass. The cloak, the sword, and the scar just screams awesomeness. One thing I do think that is somewhat off is how, other than anger, he mostly doesn't show any emotions, but it's not that big of a deal. Apart from the main character, there's so much more to love about Kagura Bachi. There was even a meme where they said it had surpassed One Piece with over 1 billion in sales after Chapter 1, which is just a meme. However, it did enter the top 3 of Shueisha's Manga Plus Hot List, where it surpassed Chainsaw Man, Boruto, and My Hero Academia. Meanwhile, top 2 is JJK, and top 1 is, of course, One Piece. Not gonna lie, Kagura Bachi feels like it's the combination of multiple, already popular manga out there. It has the magic and sorcery of Jujutsu Kaisen, the edginess of Chainsaw Man and Hell's Paradise, and a simple plot that everyone can follow. The world building is also really interesting, with the setting being a combination of modern and old Japanese culture. The way people use the katana as a means of protection is reminiscent of the feudal period of Japan, where samurai used them for self-defense and as a symbol of their status. There are cars in the world of Kagura Bachi as well, along with what even seems to be air conditioning. Not only is the world interesting, but the powers and magic in that world are also quite unique. As of the making of this video, only 8 chapters of Kagura Bachi have been released, and we've already seen quite a few types of sorcery. First, there was the mysterious magician that used wood-type magic. Then there was the one who looked like he could create clones of himself using the dirt. Lastly, there were 2 brothers that could use their magic to trigger the trauma of their targets and seemingly make them live it out once more. The author was creative in making these abilities, and we can expect that apart from Chihiro's Enten, the other mystic swords will have one-of-a-kind concepts as well. When it comes to the art, it does feel like it is Chainsaw Man in the sense that there are moments where the art is simple, especially in dialogue-heavy chapters. But when it comes to fight scenes, the mangaka takes it up a notch and makes it look beautiful. This is especially apparent when Chihiro uses Enten. They did an amazing job in making readers differentiate when a scene is supposed to be intense and when they're meant to be lighthearted and more casual. Aside from the overall art, the character designs also seem to be well done. Again, it does have some inspiration from Chainsaw Man and even Fire Force. The side characters are eye-catching and the villains look menacing. Well, maybe some more than others. So far, the manga has been brutal and holds enough mystery to keep readers wanting more. There was one part that especially made me fall in love with it more, and it was when the Daruma sorcerer blew himself up along with his sister after they were betrayed by Sojo himself. That was especially heart-wrenching because he just wanted to start living life like a normal human being. Yup, Kagura Bachi doesn't care if you're going to start repairing your mistakes because they slap you with the reality of the world they live in. Overall, with a simple story, great art, dynamic fight scenes, and a likable main character, Kagura Bachi is on its way to becoming one of the top manga of our generation. But we'll have to see if that's still the case after a few more chapters, since it might be too early. So that's it for our video as to why Kagura Bachi is the greatest manga of all time. Seriously though, despite everyone memeing that it is a masterpiece, Kagura Bachi is actually showing some potential in being a great manga for the general audience. Let's just keep an eye on it and see if it truly has what it takes. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you'll be updated on our latest videos. See you next time!